Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. This vlog is different for lots of reasons and in lots of ways, but first you might notice I'm not in my basement with a red sheet behind me tacked to the wall. They're actually putting in carpet. We pulled out the shag and this morning they're putting in some different carpet down there. So I'm out of the house and I'm downtown in Rochester, New York. At our local newspaper's studio, and they're generously letting me film with them. And I have a green screen behind me right now, but you might see it as a living room. It's not my living room. I didn't move. It's a living room that I picked out of an array of photos. I said, I like that living room. So this is not a living room that I own. This is a living room that I like in a photograph. But hopefully it looks natural to you. And never really done the green screen thing before. It's weird, right? I shot a lot of videos, never in front of a green screen. So if you can sort of get over the new digs, right? It's a different vlog for another reason too. It's probably going to be an emotional one for me. It's a vlog about and for a very, very special person in my life. And this vlog is called Out on a Limb for a reason. You'll see why. I'm going out on a limb making this vlog. She's going out on a limb making this vlog, and the whole Bright Line Eating movement is going to go out on a limb with us, we hope. So I've never really done this before in a vlog, but I want to tell you someone's story, and then I want to ask you, maybe one might say to beg you to help her. Linden is a really special person, Linden Morris Del Rio, in the Bright Line Eating movement. She actually, we figured this out a little while ago, she spent the very first dollar in Bright Line Eating. It was late 2014, and I hadn't yet done the webinar that would offer the very first sort of pilot Bright Line Eating bootcamp. She reached out to me and I don't know, paid me at $79 or something like that. I don't remember how much money, under $100, to have a Skype consultation with me. She wanted like an hour and a half of my time for a Skype consultation. And so I met her for the first time. She's from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And she wanted to know whether Bright Line Eating would work for her because nothing else ever had. So basically it was like, explain to me please why this is going to be different, because I have really literally tried everything. You name it, I've tried it. And she had a heart condition that was pretty bad, and she was really concerned about this heart condition. So I got to know her kind of well. She did end up signing for the boot camp. She did end up losing all her excess weight really fast. And she's been down at goal weight now. She's going into her 4th year of Bright Line Eating. This October 30th that just passed was her 3-year anniversary of consecutive, perfect, squeaky clean Bright Lines. So she was in the cohort of the first 40 people that signed up for the first boot camp. She rocked it, and she was so present in the online support community. She was just in there posting her challenges, her journeys, her celebrations, her observations, supporting people. She just, from the very beginning, just embodied the sort of effusive love and care and presence and unconditional radical acceptance that, that we believe in here at Bright Line Eating. And when that boot camp ended, she stunned me by not joining the little after thing that I had whipped together. I was like, oh my gosh, these people need something after this, because they're not, that was a 6-week boot camp. 6 weeks does not make you happy, thin, and free, right? So we got to give these people something. So I created a platinum coaching group, and she didn't join it. She's like, nah, I'll just stay in the online support community. You're leaving that up, right? And I was like, right. And she's like, I'm just going to stay in there. That's my home. And so she did. And when the next boot camp started in February, she was in there loving people up. It felt like 24/7. She was just in there. And then at some point she calls me up and she's like, Susan, I think you should be paying me for this. I'm in there supporting your people pretty big time. And just saying, it feels kind of like a job to me. She said it feels like a calling, but it feels kind of like a job to me. And by the time the next boot camp came around, there she was, still supporting everybody. And somewhere, I don't remember exactly when, in that transition, I did give her a job. Like, she has become the head of online support at Brightline Eating, the director of it. And that means that she hires and trains all of our house leaders for the boot camp. She finds all the VIP posters. Like, there are hundreds of people under her, umbrella. It's by far the biggest arm of Brightline Eating, is this army of supporters that we have. Supporting people. And this is Linden. This is like her love, her like embodiment of this amazing fine line we have to walk in Brightline Eating between holding people to the standard of keeping their bright lines. No sugar, no flour. No, you're not going to eat extra on Thanksgiving. Like, clean bright lines, and like just radical love and care, meeting people where they're at and helping people to, bridge any divides of, anything, religion or, meat eater, plant-based, whatever, like just, ready to stick with bright lines, not quite ready to stick with bright lines. Like, people come into our community in all kinds of ways and with all kinds of different levels of capacity to sort of, show up in different ways. And Linden just rocks and rolls with all of it and helps us set the tone. The tone that I was there setting alone in the very first boot camp. She just like embodied it and just rolled with it. So she and I became really good friends. She was, in the early core team, just a few of us, Stephen Gomez, Chris Davis, just a few at Linden, just a few of us right there. And she and I got really close. And when I left my 12-step food program, she became my person. Like, she became the person that I commit my food changes to, the person that I call when I'm struggling with my food and I feel ashamed and I don't yet trust to bring it here to you in a vlog or, the whole like Brightline Eating is just feeling like, I just need to get my food straight again. I call Linden. That's who I call. And at some point, like a long way, what felt to me like a long way into this journey with Linden, I found out something about her. She said, "Susan, I have something I need to tell you." And I was like, "What, Linden? You tell me anything." And she said, "Well, I haven't told you, and it's kind of a big thing." And, and I was like, "Oh, honey, you can tell me anything." And she said, "I don't have any fingers on my left hand." And I was like, "Okay, like, oh, honey." I'm like, "From birth?" She's like, "From birth." And she said, "And I'm left-handed." At which point I probably laughed. I was like, "That's a little ridiculous. What do you mean? You have no fingers on your left hand and you're left-handed? Like, that's kind of mean of God." And she's like, "Right?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "I paint with my left hand. I play guitar with my left hand. I play piano. I play cello. I write. But I've got a thumb and no fingers on my left hand." And she said, "I wanted to tell you before we met in person for the first time, because like I hide it from everybody." She said, "I have friends who've known me for years who don't know. I just keep it in my pocket or I just hide it behind something. Like, I don't tell people. But you, I wanted to tell." And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, well, I'm glad you did. Like, I love you. And that must have been torturous, growing up without fingers on your left hand. Like, oh my God." And she said, "Yeah." So Linden didn't have an easy upbringing at all. And being born with no fingers on her left hand and left-handed, like, just sort of set the stage for this life that was rough growing up. And she describes like going through life without fingers on the left hand, without anything like covering it or adorning it, as like going through life without an eye in your eye socket and not having a glass eye or an eye patch to wear. She's like, nobody would make you do that. Like, nobody would make you walk around with, this missing body part, like just gaping in front of everybody. Like, it's just not civilized. It's not, she says, it's just not right. So she tried to get a prosthetic thing, but it was just awful. It was like gross and rubbery and just like she doesn't use that. And yeah. So meanwhile, Linden's in my mastermind group. So I have a mastermind group in Brightline Eating. We do mastermind groups. 4 people meet on the phone for an hour and a half once a week. Every week, religiously, my mastermind group meets. All of our schedules are crazy, mine especially, but we meet. And Marianne Marsh is in it, Linden Morris Del Rio is in it, and my longtime bestie, Kathy Cox, is in it. So we have 4 people. And so at some point, Linden brings to our mastermind group, she said, you guys, I just found somebody. I found somebody. Her name is Sophie. And she has this thing called the Alternative Limb Project. And she creates prosthetics for people that are works of art. She said they're masterpieces. Now, I know I told you Linden is a painter, but I don't think I emphasized Linden is a painter. Like, stunning. Her particular gift is taking pictures of the deceased. Could be your dog, could be your spouse, could be your beloved grandmother, grandfather, your best friend, anyone. Pictures of the deceased and bringing them to life, like painting a portrait from that picture that embodies their life, their soul, their heart. Linden is an amazing painter with her left hand. So Linden has that, and she's a fashionista. She says that, it's hard for me to believe that she thought this, but she did. She was worried that her lack of fingers on her left hand would disqualify her from being in Brightline Eating. Like, she didn't want anyone to know because she thought that we would kick her out. She didn't want me to know because she thought I wouldn't hire her, because she thought I would think, how can you type? Like, you can't be, she's a great typist, but she's like, I didn't want you to know because I thought you would think I couldn't do a good job at my job. So Linden is this artist. She's a fashionista. She's the snazziest dresser I know. And Sophie creates these limbs. And I'm going to have the production team here slice in some pictures here so you can see what I'm talking about, these limbs that are remarkable. And Linden's heart just melted and opened, and she said, I need that. This is a culmination of a lifetime yearning. I need to have some way to protect my tender heart and adorn my limb in the way that it needs to be adorned, And so not that long ago, she flew to London, where Sophie lives, and she got fitted for her alternative limb. We're moving forward with the project, but here's the thing. She can't afford it, not a bit of it. And so I'm coming to you for help. Here's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for 500 people to give $100. I need 500 people to give $100 so that Linden can get an alternative limb for her left hand with no fingers. She can have a beautiful, artistic, amazing. So if you're sitting there trying to do the math, it's 50 grand. I'm gonna save you the math. It's 50 grand. That's what it's gonna cost to get this done. And when we reach that, because I believe we will, I know there's so many people who've been touched by Linden's brilliance in our online support community. When we reach that, Linden is gonna do something of her own. Every year of her life, she's gonna give $2,000 into a scholarship fund so that some young person without an arm, without a leg, without fingers, can have some support in getting their alternative limb too. Every year of her life, from here on out. She's 61. It's her birthday this week, you guys. She just turned 61 on the 18th of November. She's 61, and this is it's not just her desire for her birthday. This is the desire for her whole life. This is, I can't even express, and I have a sense of it because I know how long in our relationship it was before she, told me about her hand. I have a sense of how deeply this this piece of her has been woven into her story about her life. The days that she wanted to die and the ways that she felt like she just wasn't created as glorious as I know that she was and that we all know that she was. So anyway, she's going to give $2,000 every year of her life from 61 onward in scholarship. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a card, virtual card, that you get to sign if you choose to be one of the 500 people that can stand up and give $100. After you do that, there's a link down below that you can click. And after you do that, you'll get to sign the card and say, Linden, I was one of your 500 people, and you can say whatever you want to her in that message. I know many of you have been touched by Linden quite profoundly. Maybe you don't know who Linden is from Adam, right? Maybe you don't know at all. And maybe just this story moves you and you want to contribute. So whatever it is you want to say in that card, we will make sure that you get a link to it after you contribute. So there's a link down below. Now, on her funding page, just check it out. She's written a little bit more about her story. There's a picture of her there. She's also going to include a link so that you can read her saga as it unfolds. As you know, we're just in the first stages. The limb hasn't been made yet. We're holding off that, right? She just traveled to London to visit Sophie, just to get a sense of what it would cost and whether it could be done and what the measurements are and stuff like that. Now she's back in Vancouver, and the next visit, if we raise the funds and it can proceed, the next visit will be in a few months. So if you want to read the whole saga, you can sign up for her little blog that she's going to do. And so this is a big deal. I've never done a major fundraising thing on this vlog, but I'm really excited that Linden is the first, and I hope we do it. I hope we crush it. I hope we crush it fast, you guys. So if you're feeling like you've got $100, just go ahead and click that link, make it happen, and Linden is going to be, I predict, a pool of tears. She's just gonna this is just gonna, and our team is we're all. This is a big deal for us. It's a big deal helping Linden get this. So. Yeah, she embodies everything we stand for here at Bright Line Eating, not only in keeping her lines squeaky clean bright for 3 years, going into her 4th year, not only in supporting our people the way she does, but in trusting to bring her most tender, vulnerable part forward into the light publicly. She embodies everything we stand for here in Bright Line Eating. So thank you for witnessing. Thank you for holding Linden in esteem and love and care. If you can't contribute, that's totally fine. It's cool. I get it. Everyone's finances are in a different spot. If you can, thank you. Thank you. Click right down below. That's the weekly vlog. I'll see you next week.